XJTAG Boundary Scan provides a fast and highly effective way to test your assembled boards, whether they're first prototypes or in mass production. So, if you're an engineer involved in product development, testing, or manufacture, this test method is something you should be checking out. To make the most of Boundary Scan, you need a great development environment, one that gets the best test coverage while also being intuitive and user-friendly. That's where XJ Developer comes in. It gives you an easy-to-use method for developing boundary scan tests. A way to check not just the JTAG ICs on your board, but also many other devices, including memories and peripherals. This powerful software tool allows you to create, run, and debug tests, and to analyze the resulting test coverage, all in one user-friendly package. To check your board, XJ Developer needs to understand the JTAG devices you'll be interacting with and how they'll connect to the rest of the board. It also needs to know which pins it shouldn't try to drive, such as those connected to power or ground. This is where the easy-to-use nature of the XJTAG software comes into play. Intelligent algorithms analyze your circuit data and make proposals for how to categorize the key nets and accessible devices. You just need to check its suggestions and confirm they're correct, or make your own adjustments. Take the power and ground nets as an example. XJ Developer uses various methods to identify those for you, such as checking net names, looking for those with a number of capacitors attached, or ones connected to what could be pole resistors. It also finds devices such as ferrite beads, inductors, and low-value series resistors that could be connecting already identified power nets to others, even when nets aren't clearly named. And what about the JTAG chains on your board? For XJ Developer to control your boundary scan devices, they first need to be identified. Here again, the software's intelligence simplifies the process because it can often work that out automatically. Using information from the BSDL files, it tries to route JTAG chains through the circuit, finding the JTAG devices and the signal paths, starting and ending at a suitable connector. There's also a manual method, allowing you to complete the chains yourself if you need to. One big advantage of defining the JTAG chains at the start is that it allows you to confirm they're correctly designed, even before your circuit development is completed, as well as reassuring you that your JTAG signals are connected as they should be. XJ Developer can also check you've got the expected pull-ups and high-speed terminations in place. The software's inbuilt intelligence simplifies processes elsewhere as well. A large part of setting up a boundary scan test is to categorize the accessible devices so that the software knows how to interact with them. XJ Developer analyzes your circuit data and suggests which model files from its extensive library to assign to the devices, making the process fast and simple. For example, it will suggest which ones are pole resistors and which are series resistors. Again, this greatly speeds up and simplifies the whole process. To help further, the software can highlight the relevant components on its schematic viewer so that you can easily check how they're used in the circuit. One of the other nice things about XJ Developer is that you only need to categorize those devices that are accessible from boundary scan-enabled pins, so your setup time's minimized. XJ Developer automatically creates an interconnect test that toggles all the pins it can control to search for opens and shorts, and to check some of your circuit's passives and logic. And when it comes to testing non-JTAG devices, the library has files for many peripherals, logic ICs, and memories. Flash devices and RAMs are covered, from SRAM to DDR4 and beyond, along with many other SPI and I2C devices. They're all tested by using some of their functionality, so it's confirming they're powered and properly connected. The library files for testing non-JTAG devices are written in the XJE scripting language, which you can use too. It's very easy to pick up, and XJTAG encourages you to take code from its large library to incorporate it into your own files if you need to write any. Tests can incorporate interaction with users or other equipment as well. For example, XJ Developer allows you to create tests that check for button presses, receive barcode scanner input, use dialog boxes to take input from operators, and so on. It supports IEEE 1149.1 and 1149.6 devices, and can also set up in-circuit programming that either uses boundary scan by itself or accelerates the programming speed by using an FPGA or processor. Highly complex circuits can be tested. With XJ Developer, you can change which devices are in the chain for each test, allowing you to optimize programming and test times by shortening the chain. And the way advanced board initialization sequences can be created means you'll be able to control devices that might otherwise be difficult to place into boundary scan mode. Your tests get sequenced in a test list, and XJ Developer makes it easy to manage that list. It gives you the ability to disable or enable individual tests, and to add conditional statements that control when a test runs. For example, you might want to ensure a memory is only programmed if all the preceding board tests have passed. You can define how serial numbers are to be entered and configure log files, setting their format and what information, such as timestamp and serial number, are used in their file names. Analysis of your test coverage is presented too, so that you can optimize your tests and ensure as much as possible is getting covered. It's an analysis you can also use before you've got your first PCB, aiding your work on design for test. But XJ Developer does a lot more than just giving you an easy way to create tests. It also allows you to interact with the hardware. You can configure the XJ-Link 2's pinout to best match your board, and then connect to it. It comes with functionality that can check your JTAG chain performs as it should. For example, you can connect the unit you're testing to check all its JTAG devices are accessible and that the chain runs at full speed. That helps you ensure your board and test setup are optimized for testing. You can also run your tests without switching environment. It means you don't need to change tools during development to confirm your tests run as expected and that your device programming works. XJ Developer is a fully equipped integrated development environment. So, as well as being used to create boundary scan tests and check they run, it can also debug them. For example, you can add breakpoints, step through the test, and see how data values are changing. You can even capture waveforms of the pin transitions in a logic analyzer style view, allowing you to see exactly what's going on during a test and what data values are getting applied. XJ Developer can also be provided with XJ Analyzer's ability to control and monitor a JTAG device's individual pins. So, if you're having problems with a particular test, you can manually manipulate and monitor nets at pin level to help debug your test. Then, once you're satisfied your tests and test list are ready and run properly, you can export them to XJ Runner. That's the software specially designed for use in production. XJ Developer is the foundation for creating boundary scan tests, whether they'll be used for checking R&D prototypes or volume production builds. It brings together everything you need to design, run, and debug boundary scan tests in one powerful, yet easy-to-use software tool. Boundary scan is vital for achieving good test coverage on today's digital circuits. So, if your designs include digital circuitry, you should be creating your tests with XJ Developer. These types of tests are essential when you've got densely populated boards, you're short of test points, or your ICs are in advanced high-density packages with lots of physically inaccessible solder joints. Want to learn more? Why not join one of our free webinars? As well as being taught how boundary scan works, you'll get hands-on training in which you use the software yourself on a remote PC and test a board. You can also use XJTAG on your own hardware with a free 30-day trial, and our engineers will even set up the tests on that board for you without charge. Find out more by visiting xjtag.com to book a webinar, arrange a demonstration, or take a free trial.